Members, a quorum has been established. Would the members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We will be led in prayer this morning by our guest chaplain, the Reverend Dr. Pamela Anderson from the Countryside Community Church of Esparto. After which, please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Senator Lonnie Hancock. Reverend?
Well, many of you may have heard the story of a woman who would have Sunday dinner with her grandmother every week. And the grandmother, like many of ours, was a phenomenal cook. And yet the woman's favorite part of the dinner was when the dishes would be cleared and her grandmother would say, "Keep your fork," because it meant that something better was coming. Let us pray. Eternal God, we pray for our California Senate today, and as they deliberate, may they hold on to their forks and help the good people of California know that what happens in the chambers today and going forward, that the best is yet to come. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you, Senator Hancock. Members, under privileges of the floor, we have no business. Under messages from the governor, messages will be deemed read. Reports of committees will be deemed read and amendments adopted. We are at motions and resolutions. Under motions and resolutions, let me ask the Secretary if we have any items under motions and resolutions. We do not. Under consideration of the daily file, we have Assembly third reading, file item 43. Senator Leno, are you taking up file item 43 this morning?
Yes, Mr. President.
Are you prepared to present? If so, we'll ask the Secretary to please read.
Assembly Bill 122 by Assemblymember Blumenfield, enacting to the state budget, making an appropriation therefore to take effect immediately. Budget bill.
Senator Leno, one moment, please. Members, if we could have your attention, Senator Leno is about to take up file item 43. This is Assembly Bill 122. Once again, this is file item 43.
Good morning, colleagues. This is our annual supplemental appropriations bill, otherwise known as a deficiency bill, to provide funds for costs already incurred by the state. So it will augment the budgets of 2009 and 10 and cover those deficiencies. The proposed funding in the bill has already been approved by the Department of Finance and also the Joint Legislative Budget Committee. Few of the components for the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations, the costs are for inmate medical care under the oversight of the receiver, for prison health care, and to address the long-term structural imbalance in the department's budget. Also covers costs for the Department of Mental Health and the operation of state hospitals. There's money for the Department of Forestry and Fire Protection for increased unemployment insurance costs associated with CAL FIRE's employment of seasonal firefighters. Department of Finance needs a few dollars to cover some costs for a financial advisor on the state's pursuit of the Ed Fund transaction, and then also reimbursement to 3 different counties, Mariposa, Modoc, and Shasta, for local homicide trial costs. These appropriations are factored into the current budget figures, and I'd ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion?
Senator Dutton.
Senator Dutton.
Thank you. Mr. President, just a couple of things I want to the body as a whole. These are one of the areas that we have to deal with. Obviously there's vendors, people that provide services that are entitled to get paid. But what really is the problem here? 2 of these departments have a history of just being totally fiscally irresponsible. It's important, I think, for this body as we're trying to finish up the work on the budget that we ought to really give some serious thought as to what kind of teeth we're going to put into oversight with regards to the Department of Mental Health Services and to the Department of Corrections with regards to the overages that they seem to be incurring on a regular basis. It would be my suggestion. We've had difficulty in our numerous requests for information to try to justify it. It's almost like they don't even know why they're overspending. So any assistance that we can provide, I'm going to support this, but I just think it behooves us to really demand an accountability within these dollars and within these departments.
Thank you, Senator Dutton. Is there any additional debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Leno, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Dutton, I share your frustration. The vast majority of this $1.some billion is in healthcare costs in the Department of Corrections. We had budgeted for savings of over $800 million last year. That was the agreement with the governor, with the legislature, and we can't direct the receiver, but we certainly worked with him to agree to that $800 million worth of savings in healthcare. He only actualized about $176 million, so we have to make up for that difference, about $634 million. And that is frustrating. We do now have medical parole. I know that was debated on this floor, but there's hundreds of millions of dollars to be realized there. The department's been dragging their feet. I believe the receiver's been dragging his feet too. I think we need to make sure they understand that we are frustrated. These are costs already incurred. We don't have much option here. We have to pay our bills. That's why I asked for an aye vote.
Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Berryhill. Blakesley. Calderon. Aye. Cannella. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Emerson. Evans. Aye. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Hancock. Harmon. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. Aye. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Price. Rubio. Runner. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Vargas. Aye. Walters. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Yee.
Call the absent members.
Anderson. Berryhill. Blakesley. Cannella. Emerson. Gaines. Hancock. Harmon. Anderson, no. Harmon. Huff. Negrete McLeod. Pavley. Price. Rubio. Runner. Strickland. Walters. Wyland. Yee.
Ayes 22, noes 1. Senator Leno moves a call. Members, the bill is on call. At this time, the regular session will stand in recess, and the first extraordinary session will be convened. The prayer and the pledge will be deemed complete. Members, under motions and resolutions, without objection and pursuant to Joint Rule 33.1, Joint Rule 10.5 will be suspended for Assembly Bill 34. And without objection, Assembly Bill 34 will be withdrawn from the Committee on Budget and Fiscal Review and re-referred to third reading. Without objection, so ordered. Members, if we could have your attention, please, we will take up AB 34 on the supplemental file. This is supplemental file number 3. This is AB 34. Senator Leno, are you prepared to present this item? One moment, please, members. Members, once again, we are at supplemental file number 3. This is Assembly Bill 34, supplemental file number 3, and it is Assembly Bill 34. Senator Leno, you are prepared to present. We will ask the Secretary to please read.
Assembly Bill 34 by Assembly Member Blumenfield and Ackerlane to State Government, making an appropriation therefore to take effect immediately. Bill related to the budget.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, you may remember a few years back we had a property tax postponement for senior citizens with incomes of less than $35,500 and for disabled Californians. It enables them to stay in their homes if they're struggling to pay their property taxes as well as keep up with their mortgages. And so we, the state, pay for that property tax, and then it is returned to us once that home is sold. So there's a lien put on the property. This not only is beneficial, of course, for our seniors and disabled citizens, but also make sure that we don't exacerbate our foreclosure crisis at the same time. So this bill reestablishes that program. It directs loan repayments from past postponements to a new special fund rather than to the general fund, and then it restarts the program in 2012-13 as a revolving loan program using only the funds repaid from the past postponements. If the special fund balance exceeds $10 million, then the excess is transferred to the general fund. This passed unanimously out of our Budget Committee. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Senator Anderson.
I have a question for the Senator.
Senator Leno, are you prepared to take a question?
Only from Senator Anderson.
Senator Anderson, please proceed.
It's clearly a great program. Why aren't the counties doing it? Why is it a function of the states? These are county taxes, and why aren't the counties just stepping up and doing this? Ultimately, it's their lien that we're protecting them from. It's not a state lien. Is that
Senator
correct?
Anderson,
And why,
if we could
why
ask
is
you
that?
to limit it to a question and rather than remarks, please. Senator Leno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think I understand the question. Reasonable question to ask, and it could be debated. I think it makes sense that we would want to have a uniform policy throughout the state. We can't force counties to do this, so the state has had a program. It's been successful. It was discontinued. This bill will reestablish it.
Are there any counties that you're aware of that are already doing this?
Not that I know of.
Thank you.
Senator Harman.
Question of the floor manager.
Senator Leno, are you prepared to take a question?
Of course. Go right ahead.
Please proceed, Senator Harman.
Senator Leno, when a senior citizen does not pay the property taxes, and if this program were eliminated, how
Senator
long...
Harman, excuse me, one moment, please. Members, if we could have your attention to the business of the floor. Senator Harman has a question. One moment, please, Senator Harman. Members? Please proceed, Senator Harman.
Yes, when a senior citizen does not pay their property taxes because of financial difficulties, and if this program were not in place and they were not able to participate, how long does it take the county, an average, if you know, to literally foreclose on their unpaid property tax lien, and the senior citizen would technically lose their property? Is it a matter of months, years? Do you have any idea?
I would imagine it could vary from county to county. I don't know that answer. I can get it for you.
Discussion, further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Leno, you may close.
Ask for your aye vote.
Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Berryhill. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Aye. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Aye. Fuller. Gaines. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Kehoe. Aye. LaMalfa. Aye. Leno. Aye. Ted Lieu. Aye. Carol Lieu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Price. Rubio. Runner. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Vargas. Aye. Walters. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Yee. Yee. Aye. Correa. Aye. Berryhill. Aye.
Call the absent members.
Fuller. Huff. Negrete McLeod. Pavley. Price. Rubio. Runner. Walters. Wyland.
Ayes 31, noes 0. Senator Leno moves the call. Senator Leno, are you prepared to take up file item 1, which is AB 19? Mr. Secretary, please read file item 1, AB 19.
Assembly Bill 19 by Assemblymember Blumenfield enacting to long-term care, making an appropriation therefore, and declaring the urge thereof to take effect immediately.
Thank you, Mr. President. You may remember, colleagues, that a few years ago we established quality assurance fees for nursing homes so that we would be able to draw down additional federal dollars, which we would then be able to increase rates for nursing homes for quality improvement efforts. The current quality assurance fee structure sunsets as of July 31st of 2012. This bill will extend the quality assurance fee until July 31st, 2013. If this fee were to sunset next year, it places over $500 million in general fund support at risk. The bill also makes some adjustments to nursing home rates to reflect a net percent decrease of 7.6% in lieu of the 10% enacted by this legislature in March. It also provides a one-time supplemental payment in 1213. It increases the upper limit of the penalty range for citations from $1,000 to $2,000 for nursing homes. And then lastly, it adjusts the 10% payment reduction for pediatric subacute care facilities that we adopted in March to be only 5.75% decrease to the new fee. I ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Senator Strickland.
Thank you, members. I rise in support of this measure. I think it's important to make sure that we do whatever we can to help our elderly population with the nursing home industry. But one thing I am concerned is when we go back down, because if this economy doesn't turn around in the next year and a half, we make sure that that money is absolutely committed to the nursing home industry as we move forward, because real fearful of us not fulfilling that obligation in 2 years. So with that, I urge your aye vote.
Further debate or discussion? Further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Leno, you may close.
Thank you, Senator Strickland. Join us in voting aye for this bill.
Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. Aye. Anderson. Berryhill. Blakesley. Calderon. Aye. Canella. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. De Leon. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. Dutton. Emerson. Aye. Evans. Aye. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Huff. Kehoe. I. LaMalfa. I. Leno. I. Ted Lieu. I. Carol Lieu. I. Lowenthal. I. Negrete McLeod. Padilla. I. Pavley. Price. Rubio. Runner. Smidian. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Vargas. I. Walters. I. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. Yee.
Call the absent
Yee, aye.
members. One moment, please. Members, could we have quiet, please? The Secretary has difficulty hearing the roll.
Anderson. Berryhill. I. Blakesley. Dutton. I. Gaines. Huff. Negrete McLeod. I. Pavley. Price. Rubio. Runner. Rubio, I. Runner. Smidian.
Aye.
I. Wyland.
Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
Anderson. No. Blakesley. Gaines. No. Huff. Pavley. Price. Runner. Wyland.
Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
Blakesley. Huff. Pavley. Price. Runner. Wyland.
Ayes 32, noes 2 on the urgency. Ayes 32, noes 2 on the bill. The bill is passed. Members, we have one item that remains on call in the first extraordinary session. May we ask that the Secretary lift the call on that item and call the absent members. Members, we are lifting the call on AB 34. Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
Fuller. Huff. Negrete McLeod. I. Pavley. Price. Rubio. I. Runner. Walters. Wyland.
Ayes 33, noes 0. The bill is passed. Is there any further business in the first extraordinary session? If not, at this time, the first extraordinary session will stand in recess, and the regular session will be reconvened. Members, we return to regular session. Mr. Secretary, we have one item remains on call from the regular session. Could we ask the Secretary to please lift the call on that item? Members, we are lifting the call on file item 43. This is Assembly Bill 122. Mr. Secretary, please call the absent members.
Berryhill. Blakesley. No. Cannella. Emerson. Gaines. No. Hancock. I. Harmon. Huff. Negrete McLeod. I. Pavley. Price. Rubio. I. Runner. Strickland. Walters. Wyland. Yee. Yee, I.
Call the absent members.
Berryhill. No. Cannella. Emerson. Harmon. Huff. Pavley. Price. Runner. Strickland. Walters. Wyland.
Ayes 26, noes 4. The bill is passed. Members, we do have some items on the consent calendar. These are file items 48 through 53. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Joint Resolution 4, Assembly Bill 1263, Assembly Bill 754, 985, 230, and 334.
Members, we will do a roll call vote on file item 48, and then assuming we establish a unanimous roll call, I will ask if we can substitute that unanimous roll call for the remaining items on the consent calendar. On file item 48, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Alquist. I. Anderson. I. Berryhill. I. Blakesley. I. Calderon. I. Canella. I. Corbett. I. Correa. I. De Leon. I. DeSaulnier. I. Dutton. Emerson. Dutton I. Emerson I. Evans. I. Fuller. I. Gaines. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. I. Hernandez. I. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. LaMalfa. I. Leno. I. Ted Lieu. I. Carol Lieu. I. Lowenthal. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Padilla. I. Pavley. Price. Rubio. I. Runner. Smidian.
Aye.
I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Vargas. I. Walters. I. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. Yee. Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
Pavley. Price. Runner. Wyland.
Ayes 36, noes 0. The resolution is adopted. Members, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call on the consent calendar? Any objection? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 36, noes 0. The consent calendar is approved. Members, we are returning to motions and resolutions. Do we have any business under motions and resolutions? If not, if there is no other business, Senator Steinberg, the desk is clear.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. There will be a Democratic caucus in the Maddie Lounge immediately or several minutes after the end of session. In terms of the schedule for the remainder of the weekend, the House will be on my call all weekend. Tomorrow will be, in addition to being on call and the possibility of resuming session, tomorrow will be a check-in session as well. We'll leave the desk open if we are not in actual session into at least the early evening so that members would have time to check in, but I would advise members to stay relatively close to Sacramento. I've spoken with Senator Dutton. He can interpret my remarks to Republican colleagues. We're on call tomorrow, but it will also be a check-in session.
Senator Steinberg, is there any announcement for Monday, Senator Steinberg? Any announcement for Monday?
The time Monday will also be determined by call, and I will alert, of course, Senator Dutton as soon as that decision is made.
Thank you, Senator Steinberg. Senator Dutton, for what purpose do you rise, sir?
I need a brief Republican caucus as soon as we conclude with today's business.
And the location, sir?
I'll be in the Cox Lounge.
Thank you. Members, Republican caucus immediately upon recess in the Cox Lounge. Democratic caucus immediately upon recess in the Maddie Lounge. The Senate will be in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. Members, my correction, we will adjourn immediately upon the completion of our business, and we will reconvene on the call of the pro tem check-in session for Sunday. Without objection, we are adjourned.